In a dramatic turn of events at the White House on February 28, 2025, what was meant to be a landmark meeting between President Donald Trump and the leader of the politically turbulent region ended in chaos, leaving a crucial minerals agreement unsigned and relations strained. The high-stakes Oval Office encounter, which quickly devolved into a heated exchange, highlighted the deepening rift between the two leaders. The tension, rooted in a controversial 2019 phone call that led to Trump's first impeachment, erupted over conflicting approaches to ending the ongoing conflict with Russia. Vice President JD Vance's attempts at diplomatic mediation backfired when he suggested the former Soviet republic was showing ingratitude for American support. "It's disrespectful to come to the Oval Office and try to litigate this in front of the American media," Vance declared. Trump escalated the confrontation, warning about the risks of World War III and asserting that U.S. support had been too generous. "You're gambling with millions of lives," Trump stated before ending the meeting with, "I think we've seen enough. This is going to be great television." At stake were critical minerals in the northern Black Sea region, including rare earth elements crucial for high-tech industries and defense systems. The territory's vast deposits of lanthanum, cerium, neodymium, and erbium make it strategically vital for global supply chains. Of particular concern is antimony, essential for advanced technologies. With China and Russia controlling most global supplies and Chinese export bans driving prices to $50,000 per ton, the Pentagon's mere 17-day reserve has become a security concern. Alternative suppliers, including military metals deposits in Slovakia and North America, could provide backup for NATO and U.S. forces. The meeting's collapse underscores broader challenges in securing stable mineral supplies while navigating complex geopolitical relationships. International tensions escalated following the contentious February meeting between President Trump and the leader of the politically turbulent region bordering Russia. The diplomatic fallout revealed deepening rifts between the United States and its traditional allies, while strengthening European unity. British Prime Minister Keir Starmer led a swift diplomatic response, convening an emergency summit in London. European leaders presented a united front, with French President Emmanuel Macron naming Russia as the aggressor. European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen made a powerful statement of solidarity to the embattled nation's president. "You are never alone." The EU's top diplomat, Joseph Borrell, delivered a striking rebuke to Washington, declaring, "It is clear that the free world needs a new leader. We Europeans must rise to this challenge." This sentiment echoed across European capitals, with Swedish Prime Minister Ulf Kristersson emphasizing that the former Soviet republic's fight represents Europe's freedom struggle. Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau maintained support for the northern Black Sea region, highlighting Canada's commitment to defending sovereignty and democratic principles. The situation exposed deep partisan divisions in U.S. politics. House Speaker Mike Johnson suggested the visiting president should adopt a more conciliatory approach or consider stepping down. Senator Lindsey Graham echoed these sentiments, while others, including Senator Bernie Sanders, rejected such proposals. Senator Langford warned that leadership changes could destabilize peace negotiations, while Senator Klobuchar defended the visiting leader's gratitude toward the United States. Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer accused the Trump administration of aligning with Putin's interests. The crisis has accelerated Europe's move toward strategic autonomy, with British and EU leaders coordinating independently of Washington. This shift suggests a restructuring of traditional transatlantic alliances, with European powers taking a more assertive role in regional security. In a significant shift of global power dynamics, European leaders are asserting unprecedented independence from U.S. influence in addressing the Black Sea region crisis. A landmark summit featuring French President Emmanuel Macron, German Chancellor Olaf Scholz, and European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen has crystallized the continent's commitment to charting its own course. The gathering, following a contentious White House meeting, produced several concrete outcomes signaling Europe's determination to act autonomously. The UK announced a £1.6 billion export finance agreement to supply over 5,000 air defense missiles to the disputed territory, boosting both regional security and British manufacturing. In a bold move highlighting transatlantic tensions, the UK and France proposed leading a coalition of the willing, potentially involving troop deployment to support ceasefire efforts. This initiative, developed independently of U.S. involvement, marks a departure from traditional NATO-centric defense arrangements. Von der Leyen emphasized the need for increased defense spending and self-reliance, reflecting skepticism about American security commitments. The expansion of the Visegrad Group into a broader V4+ framework, incorporating the UK and other European nations, demonstrates the continent's pivot towards self-determined security structures. Recent developments have exposed deepening fissures in U.S.-European relations. Trump's February 2025 announcement of planned tariffs on European imports has exacerbated tensions, drawing criticism from Brussels. Von der Leyen's response highlighted the growing economic divide between longtime allies. These shifts suggest a fundamental realignment of global partnerships, with European powers increasingly willing to challenge traditional U.S. leadership in regional security matters. The region's future may increasingly depend on European rather than American initiatives, marking a potential watershed moment in post-Cold War international relations. European leaders are mounting a resolute response to recent U.S. actions that have strained traditional partnerships. Former European Council President Donald Tusk called it a totally unnecessary and stupid tariff war, signaling growing frustration with American economic policies. Tension peaked when U.S. officials excluded European diplomats from peace negotiations regarding the northern Black Sea region's conflict. This move sent shockwaves through diplomatic circles, viewed as a deliberate slight to European interests. President Trump's renewed attempt to purchase Greenland from Denmark was met with resistance, with 85% of Greenland's population rejecting the proposal. Danish Prime Minister Mette Frederiksen dismissed the idea as absurd. At the Munich Security Conference, U.S. Vice President JD Vance's controversial speech criticizing European democratic values prompted French President Macron and German Chancellor Friedrich Merz to call for increased European autonomy. The EU and Canada have strengthened their bilateral relations, with their trade agreement leading to a 65% increase in trade. The EU is now Canada's second-largest trading partner. When President Trump suggested Canada should become the 51st U.S. state to avoid tariffs, Prime Minister Trudeau rejected this proposal. The threat of 25% tariffs on Canadian imports has pushed Canada to seek stronger partnerships with Europe and Asia. UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer has pivoted towards closer European cooperation, particularly in security matters. This realignment suggests a broader shift in international relations, with allies seeking alternatives amid uncertainty about American diplomatic reliability. The 2021 Raw Materials Partnership between Canada and the EU exemplifies this new direction, reducing dependence on U.S. markets and fostering stronger transatlantic cooperation. In a significant development reshaping global alliances, the European Union is pursuing strategic autonomy, marking a departure from its decades-long reliance on American leadership. For nearly 75 years, Europe has looked to Washington for military protection through NATO and economic partnership. However, recent actions by the Trump administration have forced European leaders to reconsider this arrangement. The president's approach to diplomatic negotiations, particularly regarding the northern Black Sea region, has raised concerns across European capitals. The breaking point came when Trump excluded European partners from crucial peace talks involving the politically turbulent region. Combined with aggressive tariff threats against European goods, these moves have catalyzed a reassessment of transatlantic relations. In response, European nations and Canada are forging new economic and military partnerships independent of Washington's influence. This strategic pivot represents more than military self-reliance. It's about establishing independent economic leverage in an increasingly multipolar world. However, experts caution against overstating this diplomatic realignment. The Western alliance remains bound by deep-rooted connections spanning economics, security, and shared democratic values. These foundations won't crumble overnight. The critical question is how this evolution will affect global power dynamics. Will Washington adapt to this new reality, or risk diminishing influence among its traditional allies? The answer may reshape international relations for decades. As Europe strengthens ties with alternative partners and the former Soviet Republic continues its struggle for sovereignty, we're witnessing a historic realignment of global alliances. Canadian leaders have joined their European counterparts in seeking strategic alternatives to U.S.-centric arrangements.